Hey everyone, Urban Fish Keeper here. Hope you're all having a good weekend and have had a good week. I've just returned from RC Aquariums, and you would have seen in my previous video, last week's one, where I did a bit of a shop tour of RC Aquariums. Now, it's the first time I've done a shop tour, so I was a little bit nervous, wasn't sure how to go about it, that kind of thing, but I hope you all enjoyed that video. And I'm going to try and do some more shop tours because it's one of those things that I really enjoy watching, is shop tours. Now, while I was there, I did say I'm going to try and pick up a couple of fish. And in particular, I was looking for a couple of things to put in the cubes behind me. This has now been running for a few weeks, and the one has got a few shrimp in. They seem to be doing fine. So I feel reasonably comfortable that I can start adding some fish in. Now, I'm not too sure whether... My feeling is that the fish will be fine and they'll do okay, but you never know. So what I've done is I'm just going to share with you what I've picked up there from them, and then I'm going to introduce them into the cubes. And once I've done that, I'll take the camera and just show you what's in there now. So what did I get? So you won't be able to see it in here, and once they're in the tanks, you'll be able to see it a lot better. I got some Serpra tetras, nice tiny Serpra tetras, and I bought so I bought 3 different types and I bought 6 of them. The other one that may be a little bit challenging is I bought some neon tetras. Now, the room is running at about 24, 25 degrees at the moment, 24 probably. So it's probably not warm enough for them yet, but we'll see how they go. Interesting enough, on temperature, my breeding Discus, which you see in every video, they've got a couple of fry with them at the moment, and I siphoned off some dirt out of that tank yesterday, and when I put my hand in, the water felt really cold, and I checked the temperature. The heat on that tank is packed up. It's not even a year old, and the water in that tank is only 24.5 degrees, and yet the Discus seem to be doing fine. So not too sure, keep an eye on it, and need to replace that heater. Anyway, so we got the Serpras, we got the neons, and then I have got some, they're called Hengel's Rasboras. So I've got a couple of those. They look terrible, and they've got no color or anything in the little bags, but once we get them in aquariums, hopefully they'll do okay. And the 4th bag, well, that's not any fish, that's just some live blackworm, and I thought I'd treat the fish. All right, so what I'll do is let me get them acclimatized to the water, get them across in there, and then we'll do an update of them in the tank, and I'll probably do an update over the next couple of days before this video is released next weekend, because this is the same weekend that I've just gone to RC and made the video of the shop tour of RC Aquariums. All right, so let me do that and I'll get straight back to you. Okay, so it's a week later, and I have moved the fish into the top cubes. So, as I explained earlier in the video, I got three different types. I got the neon tetras, I got the Serpra tetras, and then I got the Hengel's Rasboras. If you have a look at this footage, this is the Hengel's. They've settled down really well. This is a week later and they're doing really well. The tank next to it's got the Serpra tetras. Here's some footage of that as well, also doing exceptionally well. Next to it is the shrimps, which I've had in for a while, and those seem to be doing fine. I haven't seen any casualties or anything in that cube. And the one on the right hand side is the one that probably is concerned me the most, is the neon tetras. Now the neons, if you look at the footage, they seem fine, they're eating well, all the rest of it. But it's almost like the neons need dither fish or something else in the tank to get them swimming around and being active. When they eat, they're fine, but when they're not eating, they're a little bit subdued. So I just need to keep an eye on them and make sure they're okay. Out of all of the fish that I've added in those top cubes, these ones up here, the neons are probably the ones that I'm most concerned about. So I'll keep an eye on it. The other thing I will add though is for anybody wanting to try and do this with small cubes like this and adding fish, I would say that you probably need to have some experience in having kept fish. If you're new to this channel and you're new to fish keeping, and you want to try something like this, you know, just be aware that ideally you would want some experience with keeping aquarium fish or having kept aquarium fish for a while. And the reason I say that is because when you're keeping in these small cubes and you're trying something and we want to see if it's going to work, the thing that you need to, I suppose, have experience around is being able to look at fish and understand their behavior, and also have a look at fish and see if something doesn't look right. Now, unfortunately, a lot of that just comes with experience and time, where you can look at a tank and the tank doesn't look right. You can't put your finger on it, but it just doesn't look right. Or you look at particular fish and you can just see their behavior, the way they're swimming, they're lying at the bottom. You know, maybe the fins, you get little white markings on the fins. That all comes with experience. So if you're trying this, just be aware that it's probably ideal if you've got a bit of experience and you can, you know, spot and see what's going on. But, you know, if you want to follow me, the Serpenttetras, no problem, doing very well. The Hingles, the Rasboras, doing very well. And I've put 6 of each in those cubes. But again, this is week 1, so I'll keep on monitoring that and see how they go. And if I see any changes, I'll just move them to a cube or to a bigger tank, and you know, try something else in that cube. The other thing I've done is, although it's been a good few weeks that this has been up and running, I have been slightly concerned that I probably haven't gone through the whole cycle, and that the tanks haven't necessarily matured the way that I would like it to have matured. So what I did earlier this morning is I just quickly, and I've written down the results here, I ran some tests on the neon tank in particular, because that's the one that I'm probably more concerned about when it comes to water parameters and the effect that it has on the fish. So the ammonia in that cube, and therefore I make the assumption the other cubes are the same because I've dealt with them and treated them all the same. The ammonia in that one is 0, so that's really good. So that part of the cycle is good. The nitrite, there is a slight reading, so not quite 25 parts per million, but it's just about there. So I need to keep an eye on it. And because there's nitrite, you would expect there to be a nitrate reading as well. And there is a nitrate reading of almost 5 parts per million. Now the nitrate is fine, I can do a water change and that will lower that, but I just need to keep an eye on the nitrite. So the cycle is just about there, but it's not quite there yet. So, you know, I just need to be aware. The other thing is I haven't done any water changes on these cubes. So since they've been set up, no water changes. Since the fish have been added, no water changes. The other thing that I have done to try and make sure that the load is not too heavy, because of my concern that the cycle, you know, the filtration cycle or the bacterial cycle is not 100% there yet, I have tried to keep the load or the bio load down on the cubes from a feeding perspective. So they have in the week, so 7 days, they've had 1 feed of frozen brine shrimp, and that was fine. But all the other feeds that they've had has been newly hatched brine shrimp. So, and you know, even in the footage that I inserted that you could see each one of the cubes, you would have noticed in there was live brine shrimp, newly hatched brine shrimp. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, is I'm keeping them on newly hatched brine shrimp just till I feel comfortable that the cubes are where they need to be. Now, as for the other cubes, I have no idea what I'm going to put in the other ones. I've had some good suggestions. I got a good email from Tyrone back in the States saying, hey, you know, you could put the following in those cubes and they should be okay. So I'm going to have a look and look at some of those options. The other thing is the borders are still closed and I can't get down further south from where I am. There is a particular location further south that I've collected some really tiny rainbows in previous years. And I think a group of those would look really good in one of these cubes and would do well in one of these cubes as well. So once the borders open and I can get down further south from where I am, it's about a 2-hour drive. I'm going to try and get down there and see if I can get any. If the cubes were bigger, I could go further north and get some bigger rainbows. I've got a place that I about 1.5 hours, 2 hours from me north, where I've collected rainbows before as well, the bigger ones. Rads in particular. So that's where we're at with this. We'll leave that now for a while. I probably won't start adding anything to the other cubes. If I wanted some life in there, I could add some bettas. I've got lots of bettas to go in there. And I probably could add, some of the Hongsloi that I'm rearing at the moment. I could probably add, a few of those in a little cube like that while they're still tiny and raise them in there. But we'll wait and see how it goes. Anyway, guys, that's an update on that. Just on another quick update, all the medium-sized discus have now been sold, which is great. I dropped off the last 2 yesterday. My Hongsloi had grown really well in the dark water cube, and I hadn't realized how big they got. Caught out 18 of those yesterday out of that cube. And delivered those yesterday as well, which was great. So I have one cube now that has got a bit of space in it. The one that had the discus in it that were being raised, the orange ones next to the breeding orange pair. Now looking at what I can put in there. I know there's been requests for breeding of angels. To me, angels is one of those things that is, it's reasonably easy to breed, and a lot of people breed it. But if I could get an unusual pair of angels or something different, I might pop them in there. But, I have to see what I can find. And then the discus, the discus pair is still there, and they need to move on, the same as the discus in the main aquarium. Anyway, guys, that's it. Just wanted to give you an update on this and let you know how it's going. My next video I'm going to make, possibly, is I want to have a discussion around tannins and botanicals that we add to our aquariums to get the tannins and the effect that it has on water. So, well, maybe that'll come up next week. We'll see how the week goes with work and everything else. All right, guys, have a fantastic Sunday, a fantastic rest of your weekend. Have a really good week ahead. Look after yourself. Stay safe. Urban Fish Keeper out.